and welcome. Nice to have you with us as we kick off Super Bowl week here in Minneapolis. Hi, everybody. Yours truly, Christopher Russo, as we talked about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned in the great Sirius XM 82 here at in downtown Bloomington at the largest mall in America, so they say, on the same site where the Met Center was, on the same site where the old Mets Stadium was, where the Twins and the Vikings played. The Met Center, of course, where the North Stars played, about 10 minutes out of town, out of downtown Minneapolis as we chat. Eddie Erickson's in that house today, annoyed that he and Jared Moore are rooming together in a dive across the street. Steve Torrey here after 30 minutes with Andre Tippett. Bill Zimmerman today, you and I, as we chat to you about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned. We got a lot to do today. We'll do a little Mary Tyler Moore a little later on. We will do a little, I'm going to lead with the Brady things. I'm annoyed. We'll do a little Federer and Tiger, that a little bit later on today. We'll do a little downtown Minneapolis and the teams in this city, that a little bit later on today. Let me start with this because I'm into it, and I knew about it. I didn't know it was such a big story. I understand that nobody wants to be making fun of 5-year-old little kids, okay? So any host that did that or does that regarding any athlete's family shouldn't be. Now, is it the worst thing in the world? No, to say it, but you shouldn't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. You got an issue with Brady. That's one thing. That's a young 23-year-old talk show host who is trying to make a name for himself by calling Vivian, whatever her name is, Brady, a pissant. What was it? Pissant. That is it. Just, and I guess she came across that way in her little the documentary. Why anybody would watch it anyway, I have no idea. But came across a little bit. That's out of line. You can't say it. Everybody would agree. Nobody is defending that kind of comment. It's harmless. I don't think it's, and the 5-year-old's not going to hear it. So it's not something that is that dramatic. It's not the end of the world per se. But the kid should know better, and maybe he doesn't know better. I guess he's been in trouble before. How EEI, it's a radio station up in Boston. The Patriots, I'm not sure if they do the Patriot games, but they have a relationship with Brady. It goes on every Monday. And EEI does the Red Sox, big station. So, I mean, how they handle it, they're in a tricky spot. Now, so we all know that. Let's get that on the table right out of the gate. Now, the thing that bothers me, there's a lot of things that bother me, all right? First off, if you're Brady and you've had a relationship, I'm assuming he does, with the morning show, which is, Jerry Callahan. He used to be John Dennis. He's out. Kirk, his partner Kirk, I forget his last name. And we can have Eddie look it up. What's his last name, Ray?
Kirk Minahan.
Minahan?
Yes.
And Jerry Callahan. You've been on there. I'm going to guess, you've done that show probably for a decade. Mondays, I don't know if it's at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I'm not sure what time it is. It's Monday mornings. He's not doing it for nothing. He gets paid a fortune to do that show. I know how it works with these radio stations when they want athletes and coaches on their daily shows. We did this forever at FAN, Torrey, you name it, Boomer, the whole 9 yards. They charge you a fortune. And the stations are desperate to have a big athlete on their air, and Brady at this point of his career is probably making close to $1 million. Maybe not that much. $750,000 do that show. Right? That's Mondays. He probably does something on Sunday game day. I don't even know. That's Mondays. He's done it with Callahan. I'm going to guess, and Martell's a Patriot fan, at least a decade. At least. Now, if you're Brady and you have had a relationship with that morning program, a couple of the hosts have changed, but if you had a relationship with that morning program for at least a decade, where I know it's all about money, you wouldn't do it if you didn't get paid, but still, somebody's got to do the interviewing, and it's them, and they do 20-something a year, so times that by 20 episodes a year, 10 years, I mean, that's 200 times he's been on there, at least. You would think he would have a little loyalty to him and come up with a little different deal than bailing out on them and to take it out on EI and the little talk show host. You would think they say, you know what, that's not fair to Callahan, who I've been doing this show with forever, Kirk, who I've been doing this show with forever, to go out there and bail on them when they've been good to me for a decade because the little kid says something he shouldn't say. So Brady should take the high road and say, you know what, I'll come up with something else, but I should be nice to the people who've been doing the interviewing here for 10 years. And, of course, they supported Brady in this decision. So that's the first thing. The second thing is Brady should take the high road. Brady should say, you know what, I don't want the kid fired. You're putting EEI in an impossible spot because now they're going to have to make a decision on this kid before we get to next Monday because, God forbid, they don't have Brady after the game. Why do I want to do that? I'm Tom Brady. I'm worth $1 billion. Why do I want to be the guy that gets the kid fired? Kid's out of line. Maybe he should get reprimanded, suspended, everything else. You want the kid to lose the job over this? That's what you want if you're Tom Brady. You want the kid to lose. Tom Brady, who's got the world in his palm of his hand, okay? What he wants to do, he wants a 23-year-old talk show host to lose his job because of a pissant comment about the daughter with that dopey Facebook thing he did, which, by the way, is not a non-profit situation. You're getting paid for that. The kid's wrong. Let's not forget that. But that's how you want to handle it if you're Brady, who's been a god forever, and this is what you want to do now. You want to put EI in a situation where they're going to get the kid fired because they got to protect the Brady relationship. Brady makes more for the one spot a week he does with them 20 times a year than the kid ever makes. So they got to protect Brady and a relationship with the Patriots. So they're going to put the kid in a tough spot. Instead of going behind the scenes quietly and say, listen, can you maybe have the kid have an apology? Write me a little letter? Can we keep this quiet? Instead, Brady makes this big brouhaha out of it, and now the whole world knows about Vivian Brady. So now I didn't even know about this story. I would have paid no attention to it whatsoever. I was ready to leave with Minneapolis today and George Mikan, and I got to sit there and do Brady. Why? Because Brady goes on and says, I'm done. He goes on for 2 minutes and says goodbye. Is that necessary? You make a bigger issue of it. Now the whole world knows. And although the kid shouldn't have said anything, when you put your family in this situation, you got to accept that maybe you're going to get pounded. I put my kids in this situation. I talk about Timmy's basketball. How about if somebody came on? Nobody did. But how about if somebody came on in the last whatever it might be or some talk show host happened to see Timmy play a game and he was off in the game and came on. Boy, he stinks. Russo's talking about that kid. I talk about him. I put him in a video. I do this. I do that. And he goes out there and one host goes to watch him play and he shoots 1 for 50 and they lose by 40 points. I got to accept the fact that, you know what? I've been talking about him forever. He's going to get pounded now. You put the kid in the video, maybe you shouldn't have put the kid in the video. You shouldn't say that. He's 5 years old. And I would never say that, as you know. But still, I can understand somebody getting, Brady's getting so much success. I can see the idea when you put your family out there, you have to accept the fact that there might be some negativity towards it. But the biggest issue to me is the loyalty that Brady he should have to EI, who has paid him a lot of money to do that spot. He's not doing it for free. I can guarantee you. He's getting paid a ton. And the idea that maybe he'd be a bigger man in this and say, you know what? I can't get the kid fired over this. How about we have a nice little quiet apology and everything moves on? Isn't that the way to approach it? To make this a big amount. And I'll tell you something else. If Westwood once said something about this, do you think Brady would blow off Jim Gray? Oh, absolutely not. Him and Jim Gray are bonded at the hip. He wouldn't blow off Jim Gray. He's probably going to come on Sirius this week with Jim Miller. All right? I've killed him. I'm part of the Sirius family. And I got all of them from Deflategate. Does he blow off Jim Miller? No, he doesn't. He's going to come on. So why don't you take the same principle with this? I know Jim Miller might be closer to Brady, and obviously Jim Gray's closer to Brady than, say, Callahan and Kirk are, but couldn't you make the argument it's the same principle? Why take it out on somebody who had nothing to do with this? Why? Because they work for the same company? That's not how you do things. So I am totally down on Brady making this a big issue. I can understand him being annoyed. You could have EEI take care of the situation quietly. He doesn't have to take it out on the morning show, and he certainly could sit there and not have the kid get fired. Tom Brady, you want this kid's blood on your hands? I don't know anything about I don't know anything about the kid, the talk show host. Nothing about him. I've heard he's been in trouble before. I mean, he's a loose cannon. I mean, trying to make a name for himself at 23 years of age. We've been down that path a million times with the way of the media world now, that everybody tries to do that to sort of separate him or herself from the pack. So that's just how he or she thinks he has to do it. He's wrong. He should be taught that it's not about that. It's about being a talk show host and being fun and good and entertaining and knowledgeable and trying to keep personalities out of it. He hasn't learned that lesson. And he should learn it in some capacity. Let EEI do that. Don't let Tom Brady do that. So I am down on Brady. Now listen, this has nothing to do with his football. He's the best quarterback of all time. Nothing to do with Deflategate, nothing to do with Spygate. No issues whatsoever. None. Zero. But Brady should have handled this differently, in my eyes. Should have handled this. Now, what it tells you is that Brady doesn't give a crap about Jerry Callahan. That's what it tells you. He doesn't care about the morning show. He cares about the money. He doesn't care about the morning show. Because he wouldn't do this to Gray. He cares about Gray. If somebody at Westwood, they never would, but hypothetically, if somebody at Westwood once said something about the dopey documentary that Brady did, and you think he'd take it out on Jim Gray and not do his halftime stuff that he does on Monday Night Football? Not a chance. He wouldn't do that to Gray. And he wouldn't do it, obviously, to Jim Miller. Miller now, I guess, can't find him. But Miller played with Brady for the 1 year as the backup quarterback. Eventually, he'll come on serious this week. And we've been nailing. No, it's me. Who cares? Nobody listens. I get it. But still, he hasn't been beloved on this channel for a long time. So I am anti-Brady. He didn't need the distraction. He's getting paid a ton of money forever to do these dopey shows. He probably doesn't say a lot there. And you got to expect Callahan and Kirk to back him up. Oh, he's right. I understand, blah, blah, blah. What do you want him to say? He's wrong? They want Brady on. No, I go on that show all the time. All the time. I don't. That's too strong. I go on that show 2-3 times a year. How's that? And I've been on that show, and I took the anti-Patriot stand with Deflategate. We fought about it forever. Go on that show a lot. Those are good guys, and they're good hosts. Good show. They're good. But Brady was not fair to him today. They're simple. There's no way around it. I mean, you'd like to think after a decade you have a relationship with somebody where he wouldn't take out his aggravation with somebody else at your station on you. You'd like to think that. Goes on for 2 minutes and hangs up the phone. Oh, come on. Stop, please. Stop. Let's move it on. And why would anybody want to watch that dopey show anyway? Why would anybody sit there and spend an hour of their day, read a book, read the New York Times? Why would anybody watch Mary Tyler Moore? Why would anybody sit there and do that? I don't understand it. I wouldn't watch that show if they had the drawing and they had the debut in my living room. I wouldn't watch it. I don't care about Giselle. I don't care about the kids. I don't care how Brady works out. I don't care about that dopey trainer who wants you to drink vitamin juice to get rid of brain cancer. I don't care anything about that. I don't care about it. I care about him on the football field. That's what I care about. And he's great. That's what I care about. And down deep, I think Brady's probably a decent kid. That's what I don't care about Grandpa, fishing in north of Montana. I'm not interested. North of Montana, north of Minnesota, and, shooting, BB guns 30 years ago with Grandpa. I'm not interested. I could care less. Brady doesn't care about me. I don't care about him. Care less. Play football. Play football. I'll take a different approach today. I get going. I got to talk about Federer today. We got to talk about Tiger Woods today. We got to talk about MTM today. And we certainly got to talk about Minneapolis today. I'll give you a little feed on Minneapolis. Outside of Seattle, and not only for a year. Do you know that Minneapolis is the only sports city in America that I can think of that had NBA basketball before either baseball and football? Lakers were here in the 50s, leave in 59, Twins and Vikings got here in 61, which means in 1960, no sports in Minneapolis. How about that? That's just a little... That's a morsel of what you could get out of me here these next 5 days. And we'll do Tony Pizzelli. Eddie Erickson wanted me to put Tony Pizzelli on a 208. Eddie, can I get the show started? We'll take a time. Ray Martell in. Colin took the day off today. Ray Martell in. We come back here on Mad Dog Unleashed.